Okay, after 2.5 hours of presentation, about a half-hour discussion, I did a dry run. I want some critical thinking. Anybody have any ideas? There's only 10 of us in here. Somebody please speak up, because some of you were watching.
Okay, did the hot links work?
Yes, they worked beautifully.
Good. I was really kind of worried that there was going to be a mess up somewhere.
Nope. In fact, for those of you who saw the presentation, it did work well. You could see the slide better, right?
Made a huge difference, actually.
See, there you go, Matthew. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
He devised that before church yesterday.
Yeah, I think we did it well before we went to the late mass, but yeah, in the mid-afternoon or so.
He spent most of yesterday and most of the day today getting that deck ready for the presentation you saw. I really appreciated it. That allowed me all the time I needed to work on making sure I had all my notes compiled so that I could. I was trying to be ready for any questions so that I had it at my fingertips. As a result, I've got a 45-page document with all my research.
It was outstanding, and thank you, Matthew. And it does make a big difference to have those intermediate slides there to help us. But boy, oh boy, I just don't know how you do this, because you keep getting better and better every single time. It was truly outstanding, and it felt good to go back, but it felt even better to understand the intricacies of how they replayed everything, opening new investigations and using the same playbook and that same source. And boy, oh boy, I hope they get both Flores, Lisa Monaco, and our girl Avril Haines. I know she's got a finger in this stuff too.
They both come from West Exec.
Feisty, no biggie, but I think that you put yesterday's date on today's recording.
I did. Oh, well.
No biggie.
That's what happens when you don't get a lot of sleep. You can't fix that, sorry.
How excited are you about presenting this to Sean tomorrow?
I was excited about pulling together all the research because largely when people ask, I answer the question. But now you got a visual. So I'm excited for him to see it all in one place.
I think he's going to be flabbergasted. I mean, I know I was, but I'm sure we all were, but I don't want to speak for everybody, but just amazing stuff, really. He's going to be shocked.
What really was exciting for me I knew about plasmic echo, but I couldn't remember the name of it. The Bober investigation. I knew about Arctic frost because Grassley talked about it so much. I didn't know about cranberry and coconut. And I knew about the BBC lawsuit. So up until you get to, I wasn't sure of the name. I knew it had something to do with the river, but I couldn't remember. I knew they brought it all into Round River because I don't remember how I heard it, but I knew about it because it was in my research. but I didn't have a real thorough architecture of it. So majority of the deck is old research, but I really was able to refine it with looking into a couple of the newer things. So I really felt good. Like I said, my intent was to spend a lot of time explaining the crossfire hurricane mechanism, because that showed, and the importance of it. I'm sorry, I got the hiccups. It showed how you could take political gossip to try to upend an opponent's campaign and treat it as a global security threat.
That just defies any type of rational reality. To me, it's incomprehensible that I mean, I believe you, obviously, but the fact that they did that is unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
So it's funny because AI, for the hell of it, because I didn't know what was conspiracy, what wasn't. To me, it's all fact. AI had no problem with that slide at all.
Wild. That's
You know what they had
wild.
problem with? They kept telling me there's no such thing as a BBC lawsuit.
Oh my God.
It's like, oh my God. And then when I had written up some notes about the metadata, because I think metadata needs to be discussed. The importance of it needs to be discussed. And it tried to argue with me that these investigations had nothing to do with metadata. And I went, oh my God. So after I proved, no, I'm right, and it actually agreed with me, no, you're right. And it does do that. It will apologize when it's wrong, which is more than most people. The very next thing that I fed into it to kind of refine it was about metadata. And I didn't mention the word metadata. It mentioned the word metadata. And here I am. It's about 2:00 in the morning, maybe 3:00 in the morning, Saturday morning. I said, well, would you look at that? Metadata. And they went ... I'm tired. It's late. And I'm arguing with a fucking computer. And it responded with, I get it. You were right. But you need to get some sleep. Come back tomorrow, it says.
Did you screen capture that? Because you should have.
I can get it. I have to go back and get it. I just put the computer down. But I'm looking at it go, you were right to call it out. I'm looking for it. But I couldn't believe it did that. Of course, it has no intuitive thought in it. So it didn't get that I was pushing back on its literally just before that, yelling at me about metadata.
That's some crazy stuff.
Actually, I had more trouble with Gemini this time than I did ChatGPT. Believe it or not. Which is funny.
Because it's less sophisticated or more protective?
Usually Gemini's, it's the other way around. I get more trouble with ChatGPT. It was Gemini that would say to me that, that this didn't happen, and I'd have to populate it. But like I said when I was presenting, I wish I could tell you how many pieces of source material. Thank God I had a whole folder with this in my computer with all this source material. What I did was I pulled it all together and I threw it in a document. I got 5 pages of links. 5 pages. So finally, I just put together a document with all the hot links. I hot linked everything, saved it as a document, and then uploaded that and said, review the hot links provided. And the entire argument with Gemini changed. It was an incredible research project, though.
Even documenting 5 pages of all of your resources is a big job in and of itself. I mean, that takes work, all the links.
Well, like I said, I have a folder for this stuff just for Crossfire. And every time as we progress through the years, I just throw it into the Crossfire folder. Inside the Crossfire folder, I have folders for the different types of links. So it wasn't that hard to do. I just compiled them.
Do you want to tell us what your gotcha moment was? Like, what made you go, oh, holy crap?
Jack Smith. Plasmic Echo. The Nora complaint. I went off. Anybody that was here at the time will know I literally went off about the Nora complaint. They had no authority to do what they did. And so when I realized that Trump wasn't going to shut it down because that was an obvious thing, then I realized Trump was allowing it to go forward. He was entrapping them.
And they just thought they were being so clever.
Yeah, I'm not even sure, because it's such an obvious thing, right? That NARA has no statutory authority to determine what's classified and what isn't. And the fact that GSA in fact, Trump tweeted about it. He actually publicly thanked GSA for, their work during the transition. The fact that the government never talked to GSA made it an intentional gotcha. So, I don't know what came first, the chicken or the egg, but when that was allowed to move forward, and it, of course, eventually that fed into what Jack Smith was doing in Nordic Frost, I kind of stepped back a little bit over the outrage, because I don't know if this was a plot to expose people in the deep state, or if Trump was allowing the entirety of the deep state to expose themselves. But that was, for me, the breaking point. Do you see what I'm saying? I knew at that point there was more going on than just what we were seeing. Does that
makes
answer
perfect sense? Yes. Yeah, for sure. Did you wake Matthew up?
Did what?
Did you wake your husband up to tell him, or was he up with you when you discovered all that?
Oh, that's several years ago.
Oh.
That was, literally several years ago. 22. And like I said, when it happened, I went off in here. Said, what the hell's going on? They have no authority to do this. What the hell's going on here? What I didn't know until I connected it to cranberry and coconut was that data that they collected at the FBI, which absorbed all White House communications, is what Jack Smith had access to, is what Lisa Monaco and Nikki Flores have access to right now. They've got all communications, not just J6 related, but all communications from the White House. So they've got some of our highest national security information is sitting in a database right now. And they're the architects of that database. That's a big deal.
No, you're right, for sure. I don't even know what to say. It's so scary.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I wonder if there's a way they can backdoor protect it to see if anybody's using it, viewing it, doing anything with it, so that they'd be able to sniff out something bigger afoot. You know what I mean? Like, to protect us, even if they don't want to blow their cover.
It's amazing to me when you start looking at what they've done over the years.
I have to tell you, at one point I was almost cheering up. I'm like, oh my God, it's this bad. Because I get angry. I don't cry. I never cry, but that really got me.
This deck did?
Yeah, because the depth of it all and the way it was all woven together, it just was
Mm-hmm.
amazing. Overwhelming, really. It's one thing to know it, another thing to talk about it, something else to see it and have it explained to you where it's up in your face and it's just blaring at you, blinking at you, saying, and they did this and this and this. It gets you.
Yeah. Well, I get it. I'm trying to figure out how to say this. I've had a lot of years working around the government. I've seen it from many different angles, where most people have had one job for many years. Because of what I did for a living, I had many jobs, so I've seen the government in action from many different angles, depending on the agency, depending on the issue, whether it was inside the government or with one of the contractors outside of the government. So I have a different, I guess, landscape that's in my mind than most people have, whether government employees, private employees, or just somebody that's living on Joe Street, right? It doesn't matter. I have been exposed to things that most people would not see in their entire career. Not only have I been exposed to things, but I've been exposed to many things where most people will see maybe one or two if they do. I've seen many things from many different angles. The only thing that I don't have is the foreign component. Okay. So I've never been deployed overseas. I've never traveled around the world. So I don't have that under my belt. And that's where my research came in handy, because I was able to research the different players in their respective assignments overseas. But still, that doesn't, it falls short of actual hands-on experience for yourself. So I've had to rely on what other people have said or reports that have come out, those kinds of things. But I do have, and I recognize it, a kind of a leg up because of what I have seen. And being in the DC swamp for 40 years makes a difference. I get that. And I'm glad I'm able to explain some of this stuff to people. What is hard is explaining it in a way that people can understand it. Because I tend to be, I'm riddled just like everybody else in the government sphere. I talk in acronyms just like everybody else. I have to remember not to. I also talk at a level that most people don't even have a clue about, because it's very much a governance perspective, and most people aren't even affiliated with any form of governance. So I recognize that I have a weakness there. When I put this deck together, my intent was to show that this was a systemic issue since World War II, and that each iteration, each evolution of how they investigated things incorporated everything from before that. So whether it's architecture or intel, human or signal, all of that information from an earlier database ends up rolled into the newer database. And hopefully what you got out of this is that this is a rolling, ever-evolving system. And every time they tried to lock it down and put in rules and guardrails, the people within the system found a way to work around it. Hopefully that came out loud and clear.
Yeah, it did. And that's what was one of the most frightening things about it.
It did come through, and one of the loud outcries you hear right now is we have to stop the fascist Trump presidency. But what your work is showing is that it's a mammoth entity that has evolved and continues to evolve and survive and thrive. And that's what the threat is.
One of the things to keep in mind, we toss around communism and fascism like you toss a salad. Under Obama, everything was communist. We have to stop the communist presidency. Under Trump, we have to stop the fascist presidency. Whoever comes in next, it'll be either communist or fascist. What it never does is expose the true fascism that's going on inside the government and their trend towards communism. Do you get what I'm getting at?
Yes, and you explain that today, and your excitement and commitment to it, it's palpable, and it's really exciting to listen to.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed that. I didn't realize I sounded excited.
Oh, it's like you're coming in for your victory lap. It's so...
forgive
so
me, but
exciting.
yeah, part of it is because I am finding that years of research is landing on its feet. That's a good feeling after all this time of wondering, did I have it? Did I miss things? I've only got, like everybody else, I've only got the use of the public domain. And I've always wondered, did I analyze it right? Did I miss something? And I'm sure I have. I have no doubt that I have, okay? But to be able to come up with a fluid story today that culminates all this research feels pretty damn good, I'll have to tell you.
Well, it feels good to listen to it, and I've been driving, so I couldn't see the slides, but it's completely understandable. So it's just wonderful. And when you said, I'm in my little corner, I thought, well, yeah, sort of. You're sort of in your little corner at the top of the pyramid. It's not a little corner. Anyway, thank you.
Oh, I'm so thrilled to hear you say that. Thank you.
Yeah.
It feels good. I'm not going to lie. Maybe if it makes me sound arrogant or whatever, fine. But I am really pleased that all these years of research landed.
Good job. You deserve to hear that. Very good job.
Thank you.
And open people's eyes a little bit to how their government actually works.
Yeah, hopefully. So that's what I was asking before. What was the turning point for you in the deck? What was new for you guys? What was that oh shit moment as we went through the deck?
Seeing how they created cranberry and coconut, and seeing how they moved everything around just to do that. It was like, you sons of bitches. No shame, no fear, no scruples. I can see the blockchain putting them out of business. What do you think?
Yeah, actually, and that's why I think the government is moving toward, well, we know that already. The government is moving to blockchain, but I can see how it will create a situation where, now, I don't know how that gets into the echo chambers, to be very honest, but at least we'll have a chain of custody for people that are manipulating information.
It'll definitely slow it down.
And the other problem you have is that the government is highly compartmentalized.
So you have to have a system that you can depend on to do that work for you.
Well, I don't know how you break the echo chamber syndrome. I really don't. I've thought about it, but I don't. One of the biggest things I think is that accountability will help fix part of that.
You mean a
Actual
little fear?
accountability.
A little
Well,
fear?
you know, somebody arrested becomes a message for somebody else, right?
There ought to be enough arrests to.
And when you got a deep stater like Nikki Flores or Brian Auten or Tim Tebow, when you got a deep stater they're not typically at the upper echelon of government, but from within government, that's a clear message to everybody else who's within government. Does it work? We'll have to wait and see. We've also seen the converse of that, where people who were doing the right thing had the strong arm of the law come down on them to shut them up. Look at Lovinger. So, I mean, I don't know how long it takes. I don't know how they do it. It would seem to me that along with putting in the technical fixes necessary to prevent the walling of this kind of information, especially tainted information, also has to include an all-out offensive within the not that Tebow, CW. You have to listen to what I did. Tim Tebow is the FBI guy that Grassley talked ad nauseum about for a couple of years. So anyway, I don't know how you fix the whole problem, because the people that are in these echo chambers, they actually believe they know the truth. So it's a huge hurdle to get over. Anybody have anything else they want to add? What else do you want? I don't know anything that's been going on today, by the way.
That's what I was looking at.
I have no idea. I was singularly focused on getting this deck ready.
That was quite a drop from the State Department about Cuba. You might want to read that. It's quite
okay. Instead of just doing that, why don't you tell me what the drop was from the State Department about Cuba?
Let me pull it up. Hold on.
It's a long history of Cuban espionage and how they've been training our folks to basically undermine our government. So it's about communist Cuba, and clearly Rubio had a big part in it. It's a fantastic document. I'm only about halfway through because it's about 100 pages. I dropped it in earlier. Well, I dropped the link. I don't know how to pull the document, so if somebody
That's okay. Can you forward the link?
Sure.
I would love to read that. Although I think it shouldn't be surprising news.
Yeah, but this is very well constructed.
Yeah, it's not surprising, but it is very detailed. He even goes back into the groups that were behind Karen Bass and all the people she took down. the Weather Underground and how they were involved in all this, and they really allude to recruiting Obama and how Clinton, on his last day, he pardoned that one lady, Susan something, part of the Weather Underground. And I mean, it's very well documented.
Yeah, you dropped the link to the State Department. There's the report, Katie. I dropped the actual PDF.
Thank you.
I'm looking at it now. It's 100 pages long. Revolutionary state, birth of the new left, exporting revolution, an espionage empire, revolutionary tourism, racial revolution, front groups and fellow travelers, anti-American international, in the conclusion.
I think this is probably the prelude to Cuba going down.
I actually think that, I mean, if you compare what Grinnell was able to do in Venezuela to what Rubio did in Cuba to get a couple of the people released to the U.S., both countries released people. That means somebody in that country is getting a deal. I don't know who it is. We'll find out. But we've seen it in the past. There's actually precedence with this where we were able to get some major concessions out of a state, and it started with releasing of political prisoners. So we'll see. But I do think Cuba's done. And Trump told us that in 2020, that Cuba would be signing a peace agreement.
Oh, the other crazy thing that happened today is Nicaraguan socialist president, what is it, Ortega or something like that? He announced today that there will be no further elections, that he is there for good.
He and his co-president wife.
Yeah, because I guess there's a real populist kind of like person on the right that's got a lot of support. And so he's said, nope, no more elections.
Kind of like Zelensky did in Ukraine.
Yep. Which it shocks me that nobody talks about that.
Because they justify Zelensky because he was in a state of war.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the same thing.
It's ridiculous.
I'll tell you, when you listen to the ministerial that Rubio did on Thursday, I'm just reading the first paragraph of this document. It's like, oh, this is a follow-on.
Yes, I would absolutely say they go together because basically it's obviously a coordinated effort to bring up the fact that we've had left-wing terrorism, that they have been like not addressing, and just calling it all right-wing and terrorism. So it plays right into what him and Besant was talking about. Oh, the other thing that happened today is supposedly, but it's that really good reporter. She does a lot of the crypto reporting. She said the White House is sending over a deal to the senators on the language for what was ethics. Yeah. So that would be great.
You talking about Eleanor Tarrant?
Yeah, Eleanor.
Okay. She's been doing very good reporting on the crypto stuff.
Yeah. Oh, and also because she got that scoop a couple days ago that Witt was going to military training for a month and probably not coming back to his job. Well, he announced today that he's pushing off his military guard duty until this bill gets passed, and then he'll go do whatever he's going to do. So that's good news, I think.
Yeah, I think that is good news. We got to be close.
Yeah, Russia is in the last couple of days of signing their crypto bill. And who was the other one? There was another big one that came out. I can't remember. But Rubio just landed somewhere in Asia. He's going to that conference, the ASEAN conference.
Oh, ASEAN. Yeah.
Yeah, so he went there today.
Oh, that ought to be interesting.
Yeah.
Wow, I missed a lot. Those are big deals, all three of those things.
Drip, drip, flood.
Well, they're going to have to give me breaks. I can't keep developing content and be in a vacuum on everything that's going on. I'm going to put in my complaint against the administration. How's that? You're moving too fast. I can't document it fast enough.
Remember when they said at some point it has to move quickly?
Yeah, I know.
And we may
Yeah,
be at
you
that
can't with all of this coming out, you can't slow it down now. You gotta come in hard.
point. It's like a big ocean wave coming in to hit the shore.
Mm-hmm.
Need a little time to develop. You just back up on just the daily news kind of thing. Just break that shit down.
Say that again.
Like, it's hard to develop a lot of this every week, right? I mean, it's almost impossible.
I try to do 1 dig a week.
Yeah, that's a toughie.
That's what Sean asked me to do.
Like this one you're doing right now is so freaking big. I mean, I'm just saying, you can break this thing down to 2 weeks. Easy.
But you see, I don't want to do that because news is coming out faster than I can document. I tested it today with extended comment period, and it was still only 2.5 hours. So it still fills a show. So it's a Diggs show and a Thursday news, which is what Sean said he wanted. And I have to rely on the fact people know how to hit replay or rewind, whatever's needed. Because if I have to hang on to this for 2 weeks, then I can't do some of the other stuff I have to do.
And there's so much coming at us right now.
Right. And the reason why I was careful about putting this deck together, because I started developing it Friday, but the reason why I was so careful about this deck was because of what dropped on Thursday. I thought this deck served a couple of really good purposes. One, to bring you up to speed on everything that has happened, but also to show the architecture of why it happened so that as stuff comes out, you have a frame of reference.
It's going to be tough for everybody to keep up. It's going to just keep coming. So, fortunately, we've developed a pretty good background in here on stuff as it comes out. It kind of makes sense.
You're actually seeing the connectivity.
Oh, absolutely.
Good, because this body getting old and tired.
What I love is being able to put names and faces on the deep state. Because
Mm.
we've always known they wouldn't be people we knew, like senators and, that kind of thing. It was always going to be the people in the background. And we've been following Lisa Monaco for what, almost 9 years?
Mm-hmm. I do hope the deck lands well. Because I'm looking at, and I'm just in chapter 1 of the Revolutionary State. What I'm reading here that's a whole deck, just that chapter. I can give you that background. By the way, the particular form of Marxism in Cuba isn't your Lenin type Marxism. It's Trotsky Marxism.
Which is horrendously worse.
It is worse, yes. It seeks to subvert all governments.
And that's what makes them so good at recruiting spies, because they never take money. Every single one, they generally approach them while they're in undergrad, and they become idealistic, and they get into our intelligence agencies, and
then they rot it from the inside out, right?
Yeah, they're doing it for the cause. I mean, look at Ana Montes. She was in DIA, rose to a GS-15, the #1 expert in Cuban relations, and she was working for him the whole time. And she was so smart, she memorized everything and went home and typed it out. It was very difficult to catch her.
And here's the bad part. She's our age.
Yeah, she just got out of prison a couple years ago. I can't remember where she went. She might have gone back to Puerto Rico or something.
And she was awarded by Tenet. You know what? I remember this. Oh my God. I knew she went to jail. I didn't know she was out of jail.
Yep. Released not too long ago. She might have been held here, actually, in, there's some kind of Fort Worth prison, and sometimes women spies come here.
She served 20 years, a little over 20 years of a 25-year prison sentence. She was released from federal custody on January 6th, 2023. I did not catch that in 23. But she should have gotten the death penalty, but she pleaded guilty to conspiracy.
Yeah, and
she was in Carswell, down in Texas.
Yes.
She's now living in Puerto Rico.
Which is Fort Worth. Yeah, I was thinking she went back to Puerto Rico.
She's unrepentant to this day.
No, that is true. That is true. Would not, well, I won't say what anymore.
Well, the thing that is interesting is how absolute the programming is.
Well, yeah. So that's why, like the Karen Basses and the Weather Underground,
Hmm.
these got, I mean, they are true believers. That's why Cuba is so absolutely dangerous, the most dangerous. I
But
mean,
we have to look at Russia and China.
yes, but you know, with Russia and China, you're basically paying them off, or they're paying us, you know, like, but with Cuba, they never have to pay them.
So based on this report, my theory that Cuba held Venezuela hostage is likely accurate.
Oh, yeah, I think that's absolutely.
Because I kept saying to Sean, feels like we did an extraction down there.
Well, once they announced that the Cubans were guarding him, it's like,
Yeah, it was pretty clear, wasn't it?
come on.
I mean, you would think, I thought Venezuela would have more money and kind of power in the region than Cuba, but maybe I was wrong.
Their wealth was extracted. That was
It
the
was
cartel
Cuba.
of the Suns. No, Cuba took a lot of their money. Cuba's budget was financed by the wealth they extracted out of Venezuela.
It's weird. Why did they have such power over Venezuela?
Because they captured the government like they were trying to do here. They almost got there. You know, every time Q talks about or talked about the precipice, people keep thinking it's coming. We were at the precipice. These people were in high levels of government and affecting policy.
I would totally agree with that. Yes. I mean, but so Cuba, they just they had more pull than Venezuela.
Okay.
It's just strange to me.
Well, read the report because I think it's absolutely true. Cuba, I agree with Marco Rubio. I agree with what Katie was just saying. Venezuela was held hostage by Cuba. How did they do it? That's the cartel of the Suns. Remember, who makes up cartel of the Suns? These were military people close to the leadership of Venezuelan government. That's who was guarding Maduro? Cuba. Were they guarding him or were they holding him hostage? I mean, when you start peeling that onion, you don't get a Venezuela that is on the top of the food chain. They're on the bottom of the food chain. And by taking over Venezuelan industry the way Trump did, Cuba immediately faced an economic crisis because they were getting their money from Venezuela.
In Colombia was about like Venezuela, about the same. Or
Argentina was about to face the exact same thing. Ecuador, same thing. We were facing it here.
Darlene Graham just told Sean Hannity that she is running for the full term.
Yeah, that came out the other day.
She just said for the first time on Hannity's show a few minutes ago that
Trump told us about it.
No,
we knew this.
Trump asked her to do it, but she has made a decision just today.
I hear you, but when Trump says out loud that he asked her to do it, that means the answer is already there. So yes, glad she told Hannity for the first time she's running, but it was not a doubt. In fact, we talked about that. She will be on the ballot in November. I hope she gets it. I really do. I hope she's able to get across the finish line.
just, voters tend to like, I don't know if it's an unknown, they don't know anything about her.
No, but she's running on Lindsey Graham's reputation, and he was popular. He handily won the runoff, not the runoff, the primary. So she's running on that sympathy vote. But
so
I think she can be fine.
That she's got his entire staff, his entire infrastructure, everything.
She's got Trump's endorsement already.
Yeah.
Right. So she's just going to tell the voters that I'm going to, like, we don't know who she is, what she stands for. I mean, she may disagree with Lindsey Graham on a lot of shit, so.
God bless you, Eddie. God bless you.
She said she followed his.
Wait a minute. Before you go any further, Cunu, let me kind of stick a fork in Eddie. Who's the alternative? Remember Yvette?
No, the other guy that lost to Lindsey in the primary, he's running as well.
Yes, he's running. And there's the Yvette story.
Right, there's
Trump,
the Yvette story, which I don't like.
That whole, whether you like her or not, you got these factions in North Carolina or South Carolina that are anti-Trump. As this stuff is coming out, don't you think that's going to impact Darlene's favorability? Absolutely, when they're looking at the alternative.
Right. Now, the guy that lost against Lindsey in the primary, he's not anti-Trump at all. He's America First, pro-MAGA, pro-Trump. But...
Well, we found some things that question that, by the way.
I mean, yeah, you can find things to question about on everybody. Shit on probably on her, There'll be opposition research on her as well. But I don't know. It's kind of risky to me, but I don't know. I don't live in South Carolina, so.
Well, has she even had a job?
We don't know.
We don't know anything. But
she was very.
I have to admit.
We know that she was very invested in Lindsey's career. She actually lived with him here in D.C.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But so I kind of want somebody that experienced the world and did their own thing and has their own opinions. And I want to know what those opinions are. And
doesn't mean she's not going to be scrutinized. But I'm going to just point this out. If Trump is not endorsing the other two, there's a reason for that. And we already know the Yvette story. The question that came up about this other guy is plausible because of it. So if you know this, then I am following his endorsements. For whatever reason, there's a political wrangling going on, and I'm not in a position today to say otherwise. If he endorsed Vindman in Virginia, I will vote for Vindman.
What? No way.
I'm just telling you.
No
way. No.
I'm just saying Trump
mistakes.
uses the politics to close out somebody else.
No. By the way, I thought you wanted Nancy Mace to run for it.
Out of the people we were talking about the other night, remember Eddie was going through the whole list.
I know. I thought you wanted Nancy Mace.
I don't remember saying that, but okay. I don't.
No, you didn't say that. You were like,
I don't.
She better not run.
I hope she doesn't. I don't ever remember saying I even liked her, but that's okay.
No, you never did.
She finished fifth out of 5, Nancy Mace. She doesn't stand a chance.
I thank God. I can't stand Nancy Mace, personally. But I may have at some point said, oh, she's cool or something. I don't even know. I have no recollection of ever liking the woman.
Lindsay's sister just said that she spent the last 30 years of her life in service of the American people and the people of that state. So she's been doing something in public.
She's been doing a lot behind the scenes for Lindsay, yes.
She's talking about it right now. I should put it on and listen.
I mean, I don't have anything bad to say about her. I don't know her, right? And that's the point that I'm making. And like I say, I don't live in South Carolina. I'm just saying, as a voter in Texas, if someone's running and I was in this situation and I had no idea about them, I just knew they were the sister or
but
brother.
Eddie, you're poo-pooing a story that hasn't even developed yet. She's
Well,
obviously out on her campaign trail. She's on Hannity. This is what I'm doing. This is what I've done. You can bet your bottom dollar she's prepared to run on her own merit. Otherwise, she wouldn't even be out there right now.
right. I'd like to see her in a debate if I was a voter down there. I'd want to see some. But what, like, I think she
That
will.
isn't going to happen before September.
I think it's August 11th is the primary.
Yeah, but it'll be a debate for the seat, which will come closer to the election. I don't even know that they're going to hold a party debate. The
She
party
needs-
the party apparatchiks are so in flux right now. It isn't funny.
Well, Lindsey Graham had a pretty good machine, right? It wasn't bad. I mean, I don't know how much money he has in his coffers or anything, but
Well, she just got the whole kit and caboodle.
right.
His entire staff stayed with her. His whole infrastructure, the machine that you're talking about, Eddie, is all 100% behind her, and the money.
The only thing that really matters is that Trump is behind her. So she should get it with that.
Yep.
I'm telling you, that matters.
Oh, that's
That's
how Lindsay. I don't
the
think
only
Lindsay's as
thing that
popular
matters.
as you say. I think Trump got him over the.
Whether Trump did or not, he got like 79% of the popular vote. I mean, that's not a small number.
Oh, I didn't know he got that much.
He got he locked out his opponents. So if that's the case, there's something with Lindsey that has him handily running for another seat. Now that he's not, I think Darlene is a good person to put in place. We've already seen shenanigans coming out of South Carolina with what the governor tried to do. I can see Trump saying, yeah, screw you. He completely shut down McMaster, by the way.
When did that happen? I don't know what you're talking about.
So, actually, it was Krista that put it in here the other day. She said, no, do not go with Yvette. McMaster had asked Trump for an endorsement for Yvette to be his lieutenant governor. And he promised Trump something. I can't remember what it is. It's in here. But he never delivered. In fact, walked completely away from the promise. Yvette, because of Trump's endorsement, became the lieutenant governor. Now she's running for Lindsey Graham's seat.
Oh, that's interesting. I missed that this week.
Yeah. And so Krista said, no, not her by any means. And she's from South Carolina.
So people didn't like her then.
They didn't like the shenanigans that were played. And Trump did not endorse that other guy. Then Lindsey dies, and he goes straight outside the box and says, Darlene, hey, take this seat. She handily gets into the seat because McMaster didn't dare say no. She's in the seat. Now she's going to run for Lindsey's seat. And from the looks of things, she's going to run on her own merit. Now you're going to get to find out what she's done for the last 30 years. And I think it's going to be substantive. Because it's clear, based on what we were able to look into, that Lindsey Graham, his support system included whatever his sister was doing in the background. So she's well attuned to what's going on.
Oh yeah, she said in the interview she knows everything. She followed his career like explicitly, and it's her intention to continue
What he was doing.
his legacy.
Yeah.
His legacy, she said.
Yeah.
Well, if she would say she doesn't want to fund Ukraine like he did, that would make me happy, though.
I don't think the funding Ukraine is what you think it is. I don't think it's war. One of the things that I figured out as I was researching Ukraine is a lot of countries are putting together this big fund to rebuild Ukraine after what they've just been through. That's a different story. It came so far. It's like something around $100 billion to rebuild that country. Almost the exact same thing they did with Gaza. The one thing Lindsey did that I do greatly appreciate is he managed to get the United States to sign on to the crimes of aggression component to the ICC. That's going to be interesting moving forward.
Oh, so I saw this clip of Bongino the other day because I'm like, why do they keep talking about ICC so much? All of a sudden, it's out of the blue. Rubio's on this, right? Well, Bongino said that they're all going to try to kill this ICC because they got word that they're going to go after Trump and his family as soon as he's out of office, the ICC.
Yes, that came out a couple weeks ago. And what's interesting, I don't know if you caught it, but the lead prosecutor in the ICC, Khan, was forced down because of sexual abuse. It wasn't just any sex; he raped somebody, and it was covered up for years. Now that's no longer covered up. So there are changes happening there.
Yeah.
So I see the ICC being cleaned out. Which is going to be interesting. I keep remembering Pompeo saying, let us never forget the lessons of Room 600. And I keep giggling every time I hear it because we're not talking the lessons of the prosecutions. We're talking about the shenanigans that went on in that room, right? Who didn't get held accountable, who became the sacrificial lambs, what we did with all the people that were key components. We paperclipped them, right? We brought them into the U.S. and to other Western countries. So let us not forget the lessons of Room 600 includes all of that.
So Pompeo's one of those gray subjects, right?
I understand.
Clearly, he must have did something that pissed Trump off since he's not in his cabinet. But I don't know what
Well,
it is.
I don't know. I disagree. When you go back and look, I think Trump uses every opportunity he has for politics. But when you go back and look at the history of the secretaries of state, rarely do they serve a second term. Very rarely. Most of them only serve one. And one of the things you notice when you start following them is it's an extremely stressful job. They're out of country more than they're in. And I can see why they don't serve a second term.
Well, but I thought he wanted in some position.
I don't know.
He
I don't
did
know.
in
And
2025 or 4. He was wanting in.
he was wanting as an advisor.
I'd
I
seen.
remember that's not an actual position.
But Trump kept him out of everything. So that's why I'm just wondering what happened.
But, that's what is said. I don't know. That's the problem, is what is being said is not always matching with what's going on.
You had to get through Susie, Katie. That's what I was.
And I know Pompeo and Susie did not get along. She didn't get along with a lot of people, actually. So I don't know if Pompeo's being used in the background. I can't answer that. I'm not inclined to call him a bad guy. I followed his career closely while he was in the first term, and I was impressed with what he and Pence were doing. In fact, it gave everything that Rubio needs right now. Two of them figured out in South America. They did all kinds of summits down there.
Well, we'll find out someday. I really don't try to think about who's a black hat. I will wonder about why aren't this person around or something. But even those people who did something that probably wasn't the best, I just wonder how many of them were blackmailed or threatened, coerced,
Compromised in some way.
And maybe there was something on him that he can't come back in and do something.
I don't know. I couldn't answer that if my life depended on it. But all I can do is look at the track record. Did he do something while in office that I would consider playing in the gray area? Because that becomes a delimiter for me, and I didn't see it.
Hey, when are they going to vote on Blanche and DNI?
From what I understand, it's not till August.
Oh, wow. What the heck?
I know.
Well, that's fine. Gives Pulte more time to do whatever he's doing.
I think it's hysterical. I think it's hysterical, to be
And
very
I'm
honest.
surprised they're not raising a fit saying we got to vote. We got to vote on this.
Well, it
More
was
time
clear from John Solomon that he and Pulte are working directly together.
Yeah.
I think at some point you put the shovel down and shut up, right?
Oh, but it gives you more time to eyeball your boyfriend.
Yes, it does. I'm very impressed with that guy. There we go. There's Annalie. My swooning in my boyfriend's lap.
That's funny.
Can you imagine what he's handing over to the DOJ?
I can't, actually. I mean, I've never been a forensic accountant, but I have done due diligence. I've been around forensic accountants. This man has to be brilliant because he actually takes it another level, and he specifically forensically analyzes mortgage documents and insurance, documents. And so this guy's got to be brilliant. And considering some of the things Pulte Group has been through over the years, I can see why he developed that expertise. The fact that he's sitting at DNI right now, pulling all that legacy information into DNI and circling the wagon around the narrative is just amazing.
I just can't wait to see the receipts. It can actually affect housing prices because of what he's found.
Well, and there was just an article out about all the people that were receiving the COVID money and everything are starting to default on their loans.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, 2008, here we come again.
They're also talking student loans are being defaulted on.
But that's not a surprise. I mean,
well, when
did
you
they ever
recognize
catch up?
that all of these foreigners came in with a free ride, who expected they would pay them back? They were able to get into these colleges for the first year, and then they started taking out loans. How do you collect on an old debt when the person isn't even in country?
There was a girl that I worked with when I was working at Singular Wireless, and she was getting all these grants for her education. Plus, the company reimbursed, depending on your grade, they had the sliding scale, but if you were pulling an A, they would reimburse you 100%. So she was rolling in the dough. It was kind of infuriating to me because there were other people that were trying and they couldn't get that leg up.
Okay, guys, I had a long day today. If we're not going to have a conversation, please let me know. I don't want to close out if you want to talk, but dead space is not going to be something I can deal with.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I got distractions going on here. I apologize.
it's all right. You're not the only one in here. I got 39 people in here, and
Okay,
it's quiet.
you know that thing from Luna, the Florida congresswoman, and she
Hmm.
said there's going to be documents coming out about reps putting people in other people's congressional offices, and then it
Right,
came out that none of these interns and people working there have background checks, right?
right.
I'm thinking this might go back to the AWON scandal.
Well, when I saw that, I think it was you that mentioned, or somebody mentioned it, A1. I was like, remember what that was? Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember it.
You had so many
Yes,
congressmen that were jointly paying
yes,
their salary.
yes. But DS, what's her name? Wasserman Schultz is the one
Yeah,
that got them
shithead.
into
Just call her
to all of
shithead
them.
because she is.
Yeah.
Or as Sean calls her, noodlehead. But go ahead.
Yes. Well, yeah, and clearly, I mean that they didn't even have degrees in cybersecurity, all this kind of stuff.
They had
IT stuff.
they
No,
had no computer experience. They
they had
ran a
nothing.
friggin' limousine service out of
Yeah,
Herndon.
yeah. I felt like I would tell people at work about this, and people thought I was crazy because it wasn't on mainstream news and stuff. And I'm like, what is happening? They've got all the information. They got into the SIPR um, computers even, and it went nowhere for then. But it's got to come back up some
So
point.
you now get why it's important to expose Round River, right?
Yeah.
Because obviously this information was walled off.
Mm-hmm.
So is it treasonous? We'll have to wait and see, but it's definitely seditious, right? And you got a conspiracy.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So I have a feeling people you work with are just going to be dumbfounded. Because this is information that should have gone through the intel community, and it didn't. It was obviously walled off.
Yeah.
Protected status, my ass.
Yeah. I mean, it's just ridiculous, that whole situation.
So I have a feeling Luna's accurate. When that comes out, I don't know. I would hope before the end of the saga, but I can see a lot of people having to step back and rethink what they thought they knew. And those echo chambers have got to be busted wide open. What if, and I had this thought as I was building the deck for this, what if some of the people that believe they know the truth, the echo chambers, what if they're in the investigatory material? Now that would be a hard one, wouldn't it?
Okay. Can you repeat that?
What if? Okay, so it's obvious the real intel, actionable intel, was being walled off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's clear. We see that with the China stuff already. And we already know they were running a shadow government to gatekeep, and they were withholding information from the PDB. So if you know these three things, the intel that people don't know about, like you just said with the A1s,
Mm-hmm.
would be in that. It's walled off. It's purposefully compartmentalized and kept out of purview for any kind of an investigation. What if some of the people in these echo chambers come up in these investigations that are inside that database? You've got an entire IC where somebody had to know something about A1. That information gets walled off, but that person also becomes a target. Do you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Just like Lovinger.
Yeah.
Does it make sense?
It does.
Now, what if you're one of those people in the echo chamber and you found out your name is in gold lettering inside that walled off database? I think that might change a few things, don't you think?
Yeah, but pretty much in that, you're talking about what they had in Round River, right?
Round River captured everything.
Yeah.
Not just Crossfire. It captured everything.
Right.
Everything from post-World War II.
Mm-hmm.
And the big issue is it also captured every piece of communication out of the White House.
Yeah,
So it wasn't just J6, it wasn't just election. They captured all that communication. 54 spreadsheets worth.
What?
Yeah.
You're basically spying.
Yes.
On the presidents.
On the president. And everybody who talked to the president. Because the one thing they did make actionable is the 2-hop theory. So if I am capturing all of this communication, I can now go 2 hops from there, and somebody talking about how to bake a bread recipe is in a database and they don't even work in the government. 2 hops isn't far. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's precedent for that. What's the reporter's name back from 2010, 11, 12, somewhere in there? The reporter. It ended up, they were surveilling his own parents for the 2-hop, in the 2-hop.
Yeah. Well, if it's about breaking or baking bread, all you 8 channers are on there, right?
Exactly.
Baking
bread channers. Jeez. I see what you did there.
I didn't understand that stuff. That's why I was just like, the bread's ready or the bread. Or,
Well, yeah,
like,
because the information in the thread is the crumb. Crumbs are put together and the bread is baked.
So then they change the page or something?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, only 750 things end up in that bread.
Oh, okay.
And then it gets a new number and a new page is opened.
Hey, Eddie, you know what we're talking about? He's baking bread.
He's baking bread. Yeah, that's how we figured out a long time ago. When something hit the page that was actually sound research, all of a sudden the page would be filled with all this porn just to finish out the bread and get into another one so that research got buried. They used to do that all the time.
Yeah, I didn't know how to find anything on there. It was just like once in a while you would see something, but then there's all this just junk, and I didn't know how to navigate the pages and stuff. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it carried all the way through. And so you had to learn the numbering system. It's sequential. So every page is a bread. Once it gets 750 hits in that bread, it's rolled up, it's baked, as they call it. It's archived, and a new page is open. And so there's a sequential set of numbering. So if you know one number, you can kind of intuitively figure out the next page because you know the next number. But I think the numbers are like 6 or 8 characters long, 6 or 8 numbers long. I don't remember.
So what time's your show tomorrow?
4 o'clock.
Oh, okay. Same as is normal.
Yeah, Sean. I said to Sean, I'll figure out something because I was really disappointed. I didn't want to wait till next week to do the dig. And I said, I'll figure out something. I may just do my own show. He says, I don't want to miss anything. So I decided to do the chat in here today to do a dry run. And then tomorrow we'll open up a Diggs show on his channel. Isn't Diggs on his channel? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Feisty, can you explain when you just said, what if one of the people has a gold mark or something on them? Because anybody that's done something wrong would know it, wouldn't they? I mean,
Doesn't mean that.
oh, okay, that's what I'm asking.
It doesn't mean they did anything. If you've got a whistleblower, which they treated whistleblowers like shit, many of them actually paid with their lives. But if you've got a whistleblower who said, hey, I got a problem here, they become a belligerent to a system that's designed to hide their malfeasance. Look at Adam Lovinger. He was doing a regular audit of ONA's contracts, and he said he flagged a bunch of contracts saying these don't meet muster. He immediately lost his clearance, and he was immediately attacked. It was 2 years later that information came out that validated what Lovinger said. In the meantime, he went through 2 years of hell.
Gotcha. Now I know. Okay. Thank you.
So, like I said, you bring something forward, you end up as a target in a system like this.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Thanks. And I'm excited about your show tomorrow because I want to see the response from people from American Rising. I think you're going to be surprised. I think it's going to be a hit just like it was today.
I hope it lands well. I've just finished. I gave you an extended pieces of information because of the questions, but I want to try to pare it back a little bit because it was 2.5 hours, and I don't want to take up the whole show with the day because Sean doesn't give me that opportunity. So I've been working on. I'm doing a cut and paste now. I already highlighted all the text. That's what I was doing. Now I'm bringing the highlighted text into a new document and producing a second set of notes. And hopefully this will bring it closer to 2 hours so that I don't have to worry about mussing up Sean. I spent a lot of time on the geopolitical map, though, the information laundering mechanism, so that you could understand why all the players who were named and what their role was. Was that helpful for you guys, by the way?
It was for me. Your whole slide, you have no idea if you could just sit back and be us. I mean, you, no matter what material, but it was good today because you could like highlight it and like certain sections of it, but it's just, I don't know if it's the tone of your voice, but you've got a real gift at saying things that is easy to understand, even though the stuff isn't that easy, if that makes any sense.
Oh, so I wasn't ambiguous today. Sean's constantly telling me that he takes what I do and he puts it in language for the everyday person because I talk above people's heads. So I've been working really hard on that.
Well, I think everybody who listened to you today would agree. Maybe we should take a poll in the chat now from everyone who heard you this afternoon.
I don't know how many are in here. I mean, we had 30 some people. Had people that were new to the channel were listening.
Yeah, you had 2 of them that I saw. Ann Boyer, she was there this afternoon. Angela was there. Angela, don't you think Feisty was great? She wasn't talking above everybody.
Not at all. I think she was perfect. The way she wove the story was amazing.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
I am really glad it landed well. Thank you. So that means tomorrow should be just as good. Although I am truncating. What I did, I was trying to prepare myself for every possible question you guys could throw at me. So I have literally a 45-page document that I spent Saturday, yesterday, and today compiling. That's why I was so glad Matt did what he did with the deck, because I couldn't have gotten it done. There's no way I could have done what he did. And I'm trying to get this down to about 10 pages. I'll let you know. I'm just cutting and pasting all the highlighted text into this document because I just went through the full 45 pages and highlighted what I thought was really important to bring forward. And so far, I'm on page 6. And I'm about so I got it down to about 12 pages. That's not bad. I'm halfway through the deck.
And whatever you do, make sure you include your last page, and don't forget to say what you said today about all your research, because bam!
I am so sick of hearing you're letting AI do your research. It's like, fuck that shit. Trust me when I tell you AI is not a research engine. Please, guys, get that out of your head. If you don't know your topic, it's not going to remember it for you. I mean, it was me. The reason why I was able to talk about stellar wind is because I said to AI, wait a minute, this goes back to stellar wind and what the issues were. Came back, you're absolutely right. And I actually uploaded, because I've got 3 of the 5 IG reports. There were 5 years worth of IG reports, I think. I got 3 of them in my database, and I uploaded all 3 that I have, knowing there was more. I just never went back and got them because I got what I needed. It talked about how stellar wind began to go sideways starting in 2010. It talked about it. 2009, it talked about the risk of it doing it. 2010 says, yep, it sure has. And that wasn't just one IG. That was a multi-agency IG report that I read with heavy intent. But they actually used the words in it, began to go sideways. And by 2012, they put up the warning, stellar wind gets closed down. But hey, they didn't get rid of anything. How do we know? Because when 2016 came along, they used it to jumpstart Crossfire Hurricane. I mean, this stuff, people should be outraged. And the bad thing about stellar wind is they develop technology along the way. It's where Mystic and Prism come in. And Mystic's still being used today. Prism got shut down. Mystic is still active. And that's where they can do whole blocks of communications and go back and listen to them after the fact, right? And build crimes, because that's what they use it for. Your name comes up in the database, they will turn around and they will go through that database looking for any communication you had, because they do a complete a complete canvas. Which is why I brought up Section 218, because that's what gave them the flexibility to do it. Shit. I'm going to have to still pare this back. Damn it. Maybe not.
You know, senators and congressmen and women, they don't even do a background check. I didn't know that.
Okay, no, elected officials don't need it.
Yeah. Even if
Because you
they're on
voted.
intelligence, they don't need it.
Yeah, because they're elected.
Right.
Appointees need one.
And doing a background check on like aides, staff members, that's discretionary to the senator.
It's discretionary to the senator or the congressman they work for. Yes.
Right. Unless they're on an intelligence committee where they'll be seeing things, then they have to do it.
Well, that's when they're in the skiff.
So between our government that's messed up internally, right? And then you talk about, what is it, anthropic or whatever with the Defense Department.
Mm-hmm.
That can actually, I mean, wow. Thank God Trump is here. So, because it's, like you said, you only get one shot, and this is it.
Mm-hmm.
When's the UN meet it for the UN Security Council meeting in New York every year?
I don't know.
There's no way Mandami would. I mean, he wouldn't try it, right? I mean, he might try it.
He says he will.
Who in the hell would he get to arrest him?
NYPD's the only one he can order. But did somebody drop Trump's post on that today or yesterday?
No, I didn't see it.
I think it might be on Truth. So I saw it, but I don't have Truth. But basically, he said nobody will be arresting Netanyahu.
That's good to hear. Well, I know our security system will. They'll protect him.
It's on the wall for you, Katie.
Thanks.
I mean, he's a foreign dignitary. They would have to get him before he stepped into the UN soil, because they don't have jurisdiction there. But even like when he lands at the airport, Kennedy or whatever, as a foreign dignitary, do they have jurisdiction anyway?
Doesn't seem like it.
You know, our diplomats are treated like gold, right?
Well, yeah, for a reason, right? Because, I mean,
Right. We still got to operate internationally.
yeah, man. I mean, if you start arresting people, I mean, no one's going to come to America. You won't be meeting with anybody. Now, Alaska, I guess, should have arrested Putin when he landed in Anchorage, right? I mean,
Yeah, we weren't going to arrest him. That's why he came to Anchorage.
Right. See what I put on the board there?
No, I'm not in there.
Senator Rand Paul, the chairman of the Senate Homeland Security Committee, has just released internal federal documents which he says show that the FBI intervened and stopped CBP from searching and questioning Peter Daszak upon his return to the U.S. from China at JFK Airport in 2021 during the WHO's investigation into the origin of the COVID-19 pandemic. The documents show that CBP's National Targeting Center had flagged Daszak, president of Equal Health Alliance, as an extremely high person of interest ahead of his arrival in the U.S., citing his more than 15 years of collaboration with the Wuhan Institute of Virology and his role as principal investigator on the NIH grants funding bat coronavirus research in China, and that much of the funding Daszak received is put towards gain-of-function research. The documents reveal that CBP had a series of questions they planned to ask Daszak when he landed and were going to search his media until they were told to stand down by the FBI. An email dated 2/4/21, a CBP official notifies others within CBP.
Yeah, so I looked at all the communication, and you can't see who the FBI. I couldn't find the FBI agent's name, but it looked like he's from one of the New York branches, and he was on like the Joint Terrorism Task Force or something.
That's good information.
Yeah.
So did you look up who was on that task force that year?
I did not.
Because I think we might be able to figure out, because I would venture, given how they do things, they keep their circle tight, that person got cycled through either the Washington field office or the main FBI headquarters.
Ooh, that would be interesting. Let me look up and make sure it was the task force and not just their unit. Hold on. I've got the email here.
I got to step away for a second. Give me a second.
When does the Senate and House go on summer break, or have they already gone? Anybody know?
Not until like I want to say the second week of August.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it was coming up soon. All right. Thanks.
Now, and they'll also have a long break this week because it's or this year because of the midterms. They'll be like they're not in session too much until the midterms.
Okay, I'm back. Did you finish?
So I dropped those letters. The FBI in New York requested it, but the CBP was on the Joint Task Force, so it wasn't. I don't know. It'll be hard to track down who the FBI told him, unless he's got further documents he's going to drop. I guess he's doing this because Fauci is testifying on the 29th, so I think he's starting to slow drop things.
Okay.
It's going to be interesting to see what Fauci does. I mean, he can't plead the fifth. I don't know. I guess he can just lie.
Well, if he lies and they catch him, his pardon doesn't count that.
His pardon doesn't only covers up to
Right.
the date of the pardon.
Right. So he can't go just lie. And some people say he can't plead the fifth. I don't really know.
He can't. No, once you took a pardon, that's a Supreme Court case that once you take a pardon, you're saying there's something wrong. So you cannot plead the fifth. That's in here. That research is in here. We looked into that when that first came out. So no, he can't take a plea.
So his best bet is just to tell the truth. No matter, I mean, even if it implicates him in some kind of crime, if it was under the pardon, then they can't prosecute him. So his best bet is just tell the truth.
He has no choice. It also positions him to be a whistleblower. Don't forget that. Which nobody wants to hear about.
How many slides you're up to, Feisty?
Oh no, I got it into, when I'm done, it'll be about 12 pages.
Okay.
From 45. I think I did good.
Yes.
Could he, like, let's say they start asking him questions about other people's actions during that time period and what they did, Peter Daszak or whatever it is. Could he claim like 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 privileges or anything like that?
DASIC doesn't have anything to claim privilege over. They were working outside of the executive office, so no.
Right.
Well, if those programs were classified, he
But
might
if
not
they
be able
don't
to.
have, again, Chevron comes into play because they cannot hide malfeasance. So there at least will be an in-camera review of that information. But because they were working outside of the executive office, executive privilege is not absolute. They can't claim that privilege.
Oh, I thought he was just talking. Were you talking about Fauci?
He mentioned privilege, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He mentioned DASIC, actually. And so
Yeah.
you've got the Hensley protocols. DASIC as a contractor is not, he's not shielded. And you've got a situation where you've got a DOD component, right? Because they used DARPA and DITRA. So
This
he
may
has
be,
nothing he can, all they can do is claim that it's behind the shield of secrecy, which Chevron completely blows that out of the water.
the only loophole I can see him trying is if it opens him up to criminal investigation or liability in a state crime, then he could still invoke his Fifth Amendment right.
I don't
Only in a
know.
state crime, you got a federal pardon, so it doesn't convey to the
Right.
state.
That's right. So if they ask him a question that could open up to a state crime, then he could say, under advice of my counsel, I invoke the Fifth Amendment due to this.
But not in this case. This is a federal situation. If the state opens a case against him, then yes, he can plead the Fifth. But you're talking a federal situation with a Senate, right? So he cannot invoke the Fifth.
And can the state use this testimony against him?
Yes, anything you say can and will be used against you.
That
There you go.
seems.
If the state can use his testimony against him, then he still can invoke his Fifth Amendment right due to that.
Only at the state level. No, he cannot do it in a federal situation. He got a federal pardon. So he cannot, that applies only in a federal setting. If the state listens to that testimony and they open up a case, he can plead the Fifth then. So it really gets down to how deep will the questions go. He can't plead the Fifth in a federal setting.
But that's still
And
a lot
that's a Supreme Court precedent, by the way.
Yeah, no, but that's the whole idea of, not having your Fifth Amendment rights due to the pardon is that you can't be held criminally liable for any statements that they're going to ask you. Otherwise,
At the federal level, it doesn't apply to the state. So the federal government can't hold him criminally liable. The states can bring up their own case, and that's a totally different animal. His federal pardon doesn't convey to the states.
Right, but any statements he makes in that hearing,
Can be used against him.
Statements.
Yes.
Right, so you're incriminating yourself, and you don't have, immunity. So then you would
exactly
have your Fifth Amendment rights at that point to not answer.
He would have
question.
them at the state level, yes.
And I bet Rand Paul can't wait to get him up there to have
This has been his commitment from day one, right?
Oh yes, through all those other hearings when Fauci sat there and lied through his teeth.
This is where all that stuff Tulsi dropped.
Yes,
and come in handy.
And I believe it's already in a case, by the way, because and I pointed this out. If you go back to the June 12th drop, the first thing you notice at the top of the page is the header says that it was declassified April 23rd. That tells me it was used because that's at that point, once it's declassified, it can be used as evidence. And the June 18th drop was all the financial information behind that. 400 pages of money. So I believe it's in a case. And what's interesting, I mentioned this with Sean, what's really interesting is the June 12th drop was only those 4 pages. Meaning there's a whole lot more shit that's still behind a wall. But it exposed, remember I pointed it out, it exposed the Odessa lab and the fact that it was run by an American company and the fact that it had DITRA funding. So all of that research that we've been talking about over these years about what was going on, the BAT program, they even talk about how they were doing BAT research. And I brought up the fact I know about that. I know how they selected where the labs will go. I know all of that stuff. So if that's all she put out, obviously still mine has to be vetted, but it was right off of the U.S. Embassy in Ukraine that I got that information. And like I said, I found the document that they used when they were trying to determine where to put the labs. And they specifically chose countries, 30 countries that, it's actually more than 30 countries. I want to say it was like 34 countries total, but they specifically chose countries that were disparate financially. So what they did, and think of the deal they got. You're in a country where it's customary to earn the equivalent of $1 a day. Give them 10, they're wealthy. Do you see where I'm going? And they did that intentionally. So they committed a crime for very few dollars.
Okay, let's say they ask him this, Feisty. Were you aware of, or did you participate in any efforts to downplay or misrepresent the lab leak hypothesis in communications?
Okay, if I were his defense lawyer, first thing I would do is call for the judge to review it because it's too broad a question.
If I was his defense lawyer, I would tell him, do not answer that question.
He can't.
Well, was he in communications with state health officials and things like that?
They can break it down into smaller questions.
Right, so they could. But let's say he answers yes. Then a state could pick that up and say, hey, you were telling us this.
That's exactly, by the way, just so you know, as you're sitting here questioning, that's exactly what happened with the Russian team. Do you remember under the Mueller investigation, they put that farming team, the Russian influence team, they put them under indictment. Okay? And the Russian government was working with that team, with the U.S. to resolve that indictment. When the Mueller report came out, they immediately sued the federal government because what was in their indictment did not match what was in the Mueller report. And we, as a government, dropped the charges against the Russian team. So what was the importance of it? First of all, there was an out-and-out fabrication there, number one. Number two, The importance was it didn't matter if the lawsuit was going to go through. The narrative had already been leaked. We ended up dropping that case. It was so egregious, in fact, that even Deripaska tried to get a case dropped. Of course, that didn't happen.
I
But
just
I,
think.
I see what you're
Go ahead,
saying,
Kim.
Eddie. And I think, you know, Texas is pretty good about their lawsuits here, Paxton's office. So I wonder if they're going to watch, and because a lot of things, even if he doesn't just say something about the state, well, his policies implicate or impacted all of us, right?
Impacted all the states.
Yeah. So even if they don't specifically say a state, I don't know. I think there's
plead the
jeopardy.
He's in a precarious position.
Yeah, he is.
And you've got Rand Paul, who wants to get his ass in front of a stand real fast, and he will lead enough questions for somebody to pick up on that. I have no doubt. But Fauci's not in a good place. Just because he's got the pardon, it actually hurts him. It doesn't help him.
Even if he didn't get prosecuted, for that little weasel to sit there and tell everybody the truth, I think that would do more to wake lefties up than anything. There are still
Than anything, right? I
oh
agree.
my God, there are still people that I was on the West Coast last week, and like there are still people that idealize him, and they're still walking around in masks. It was unbelievable to me.
We see it here in D.C.
Congress offer him immunity before he starts answering questions?
He doesn't need it.
Well, he may.
No.
Yeah, but Congress can't offer immunity and wipe the states' rights out.
They cannot do that. Not only that, it would void his pardon because he's already got immunity. I think the question of class action lawsuits very soundly applies to Fauci.
Well, who would you sue? Him or the whole CDC or NIH? I mean,
you're going to sue the federal government, which is why Trump wanted to open up that fund, the Justice Fund.
So basically, the only way he gets out of this is if he becomes a whistleblower, right?
I think that's where it comes to.
okay, my only problem with that is, yeah, he's probably got things he can whistleblow on, but he was also complicit in so much stuff.
I'm not going to disagree with that, but you do realize even if he's a whistleblower doesn't mean he isn't accountable. It doesn't preclude all that. Did he make a deal? I don't know. Something. But if he's a whistleblower, then that in essence is a deal made with the federal government to rat on others. And I have to believe that that's how Dasick came to the front of the line. Although there's others. You got Ralph Barrick. You've got the doctor up in Canada. You've got so many other people that are involved that we've over the years come to know their names. And, you know, like what's his name, that used to work in his own lab. So he could have rolled on them already, for all I know. We don't know where they went behind the scenes.
I'm almost positive that's what he's going to do, man. Well, we'll see. It's coming up. Anything that could incriminate him, he's
screwed.
In a state crime, though, he can invoke the Fifth, and that's what he'll do.
But if he
Which,
lies
as
on
the
the
Supreme
stand,
Court said, is his admitting there's something wrong.
but if he doesn't answer the question or lies, like, because clearly he lied about funding gain of function.
We never did gain of function when I showed
Right.
you clear path from that.
And so if he stands by that, then they can prosecute him for a 101 violation, can't they? 1001?
Right. Yes. If he lies, he got a pardon that gets him up to January 20th of 2025. So if he lies at any point since then, that pardon doesn't cover him.
That's right.
What was interesting about his pardon is it covered any and all crimes to his entire tenure, which is already your insight. This gets back to what Dr. Tenpenny kept saying, because she kept trying to tell them there were issues since the 80s. He took over as Amrid's director in 84. She has called him out on numerous occasions, but his pardon is a blanket pardon. So they can't go backwards and look at, no, it's a blanket pardon. Go look at it. It's
I thought it
incredible.
only went to like 2014 or something, which was bad enough.
I don't remember it ending in 2014.
No,
yeah,
starting.
It's 2014. It's starting in 2014 and forward to whenever.
But if you go back and look at, remember I showed you what happened in 2014. That's when the moratorium was put on gain of function.
Exactly, which that should have opened everyone's eyes to. This is what he was doing, and this is why they're starting it at that point. Yeah.
So, but that immediately takes you back his entire tenure.
I wonder if
because that brings in the legacy gain of function that was happening with anthrax.
Yeah, exactly, and HIV. But I wonder if the statute of limitations is up, and that's why they didn't go back further. I don't know.
Not on a crime against humanity. I don't think there's a statute of limitations.
He's going to have to answer that question, like the gain of function question, because that was in the performance of his duties as director of the NIH.
As director,
so it has nothing to do with state. Right. So he'll have to answer that question.
But we also know that universities in Michigan, Texas, and North Carolina were integral to the gain of function research. So at least you've got 3 states that would have a vested interest in listening.
Wyoming too, right?
Oh, yes. I'm sorry, 4. I forgot that one.
Well, they just recently had something where they were like worried about it escaping. I'm like, shut these down.
I thought I did actually pretty good research on that deck.
It was good. But I mean, there's just so many questions. Even if they try to phrase it in a way that doesn't implicate a state, right, or a state would pick it up, it can still be picked up by a state. Like, have you ever destroyed or altered or directed others to alter records, emails, or communications related to NIH-funded research? If he answers that truthfully and says yes, which we know he did, then he could have communicated those to states that, are open to records requests, all kinds of stuff. So that would implicate him in a state.
Also remember also remember the vested interest isn't just in COVID. The vested interest is also in the mechanism that was used in their state. So I think one of the things that the states will bring forward is the fact that inside their state, their sovereign area, there was a crime against humanity being committed. Their interest would be in getting to the bottom of that. And no matter what he says, they're going to be listening intently. And I have no doubt that Rand Paul is going to couch those questions in such a way that the states can use it. Because I don't think, and this is my opinion, I don't think the pardon helped Fauci at all. In fact, it put a bigger target on him. We've talked about this in the past. And then you got the international piece, right?
And as long as he doesn't travel anywhere, though, like, he'll probably be okay there. I mean, he ain't gonna be able to go to Europe.
Not
and
if he's
shit.
brought into question by any of these other countries. And you got the ICC cases going on. You've got the case in the Swiss case that's going on, the Swedish case that's going on. Don't forget, we had a woman from Thailand, a princess, who was in a coma because of the shot. They'd be vested. There's a vested interest. So you got a number of situations where his troubles have just started. And like I said, I don't think the pardon helped him one bit.
Oh, that's a good point. That princess died too.
Yeah, she did eventually die. She was in a coma, though, within hours of getting the vaccine.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I don't think the pardon helps Fauci. It puts a bigger target on his back. That said, when it comes to crimes against humanity, which is what this would classify as they go down that rabbit hole, Fauci is just one of many players. And one of the things I proved is Amrid isn't the source of this, DITRA is. And that's the bigger story, because you're talking black ops programs that were shielded from oversight by Congress and anybody else because of national security. It actually pierces that veil. And once that story starts coming out, everybody involved gets hung up in it. I mean, don't you find it interesting we go after Fauci, but we never mention Francis Collins, who was a big counterpart to this?
Oh, yes. I think of that often because I've come across Francis on many professional occasions, and I would like to see Francis pay for.
That's why I'm saying I actually think Fauci is more of a whistleblower, because when you dig in to the gain of function, the document they came out with, Francis Collins drafted, not Fauci. So there's a bigger story here, a lot bigger story. The whole DITRA connection. Man, if that doesn't pierce the black ops veil, I don't know what does. And the fact that we're running all these biolabs in 30 plus countries, which were all what? They were all DOD contracts, every single one of them. That's where the end game gets to. It ain't Fauci. He's low-hanging fruit. I have a feeling he's already given up the ghost on a lot of stuff. While he may still have some accountabilities, which I'm sure there are, the bigger story has yet to even be told.
He's more valuable in really waking up the left and having
think
them hear
so.
the truth. I mean, if he did that and his reputation forever was sullied, like everybody knew he's a little villain, that would be enough for me, honestly.
That's what I'm saying. Be careful, because they've done a very good job of painting scapegoats as the villain. This gets a lot bigger.
Feisty, you have your special mark on all your slides, right? For tomorrow?
Yeah, open them up. You'll see it.
Okay. Well, no, I have them on my thing, but I was just thinking that when you're saying, oh, I'll give everybody all this, I'm thinking, I hope you've got your special mark. I didn't look at the ones that I printed today. Sorry. I mean, I looked at them, but I didn't look for your special mark.
Yeah, my logo's on every slide. In fact, some of them I had to make bigger because I forgot when I made an edit on a slide, I forgot to take my logo off of it, and AI tried to regenerate it. Some of them are funny. Okay, it looks like I'm going to go into 12 pages. I can do that. That's not too bad.
Yeah, I think Congress, I mean, the senators are going to have to get very creative.
I have no doubt they've prepared for this.
Yeah, they had to. But what are you going to really get out of it, man?
I think it's more exposure to the public when it comes to what's going on in the Senate. It's more information, public-facing information.
Like Katie's saying, just kind of the normie people, they'll be like, oh.
Getting the yahoos in the upper Northwest to wake up there and smell the coffee. Yes.
Right.
Hey, I just dropped something that came from that State Department document. That's pretty interesting. I haven't got to that part yet.
I'm coming in just a second. Wow. Yes, CW, Matt is not Kevin. Thank you, Mary. This email?
No, that was the FBI email. No, the last thing in the chat.
Okay, I'm not, okay. "24-hour rapid response plan to mobilize activists." Holy shit. A Cuba-linked, you said this was in the document? A Cuba-linked coalition drew up a 24-hour rapid response plan. When was this put out? Today. To mobilize activists at U.S. military bases, ICE detention centers, and federal buildings in the event of American military action against Havana, according to a State Department report released today. The National Network on Cuba, representing more than 60 organizations, distributed the plan in June, establishing a precise timeline. If U.S. strikes begin before 3 p.m. Eastern, demonstrations launch by 6. The document explicitly instructs organizers to target ICE facilities to connect Cuba solidarity to anti-ICE immigrant defense work happening nationwide. Okay, so you know what comes to mind on this one? Remember the comment about clean and swift? That's a shot. If that came out of this document, that's a shot over the bow going, go ahead, make my day.
That's what this
You
document
hear it,
connects.
right?
All these left-wing groups. So isn't that all like those Pink Pistols and all this things?
All
like,
of them.
All these NGOs. And yeah.
And like I said, I read just the first paragraph and it completely linked to the ministerial that Rubio did on Thursday. And they spent the weekend, I don't know if they're still there, but at least the weekend in workshops and they're going back to their own countries to deal with domestic terrorism. That was an amazing ministerial, by the way.
Yeah, I got that in my saves. I was gonna watch it last night. I didn't get to it.
It was an amazing. There was only 3 speakers. It was Rubio, Miller, and Besant. But when you take all 3 together, it's like, holy shit, it's war. You know what I mean? It was very direct, is what they talked about. And Besant, he got actually militant. He said, for any of you that wants to report that this is fake, I just want you to know I was a victim of an assassination attempt within 2 hours of me taking the oath of office. And then he goes down the list as if he's somebody saying, fuck you, I'm coming after you. It was like he got a lease on life from that.
It's like the 3 big bazookas.
Yeah. It was a really good. It's only 45 minutes long, by the way, Eddie.
Yeah, I definitely want to watch it. I definitely want to watch that. And your show tomorrow is what, 3:00?
4, well, your time 3.
What's tangential mean? Tangential.
I'm sorry?
Tangential.
Tangential?
Tangential connection? Tangential?
Tangential. Is that what you're saying? Tangential?
I think that's what he's saying.
Oh, maybe
Okay,
that's what
well, it's more, the word is tangential.
tangential.
When you're tangentially aligned to something, you may not be in the complete architecture, but because of things you're doing, it tangentially aligns with something else.
Tangential.
Well, that's what I was saying. And I was wrong. It's tangential.
It is tangential. I don't know of a word named tangential.
It's tangential with a sh. Tangential.
It's tangential. It's tangential. It's not, there's no S.
Loosely aligned, basically, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're because of something you're doing here, it aligns over there. It's tangential because there's some crossover.
I don't think I ever went over that word in like literature class or anything. I don't believe I did. Maybe I did.
Okay, last night you guys were talking about LiDAR, right?
Yeah.
So I was just looking, Rep. Dusty Johnson, I just dropped his X post, but he's got this bill that he's putting forward that includes prohibiting the federal government from using Chinese-made LiDAR technology, which means we already are, which means they have everything.
It means they've had it for years, okay?
Oh my God.
That was the mystic I was bringing up last night. How do you think they're able to capture all those communications and then go back, like in a time machine, to look at past communications? How do you think they got all that? Are you sick to your stomach yet?
Yes.
Is it like a laser technology?
No, it's a communications tech. It's a back door, if you will. So when you got your cell phone, look at your cell phone. There is software built into this cell phone. Part of its chip setup is that it actually can serve as a what is the word I want? Where it can send data, right? And this is why I get crazy when people are on Facebook and they authorize their location data. It's the same thing your cell phone is doing. All that information is captured. Every bit of it. China's got it. Our federal government has it.
Wow.
This is why I know you've heard people talk about it. They will be in their house and they'll be talking about, let's say you want to buy a mattress. And you go and you open up Google, and what do you see? Ads for mattresses.
I get that shit not all the time, but quite often.
You know that's LiDAR at work. So it's these collection sites, these cloud sites, Google, Amazon, all of them, they're using it as a marketing tool, but it should have been a heads up. Wait a minute, how'd you get my communication? And I know this for a fact. Remember the Boston bombing? And what was the bomb in? It was in a pressure cooker, remember?
That's right.
Okay. So a couple of friends of mine were talking about which pressure canner they were going to buy. Do you know they got visited by the FBI because of those communications?
Just talking about it?
They were talking about buying a pressure canner.
Oh, okay. Oh, like on the phone or whatever?
Yes. They were having a conversation about which one was better, who had the better price. They both ended up with an FBI visit.
Damn.
And all they were talking about was canning. That was right after the Boston bombing.
Yeah, quit talking about it. Quit talking about it.
I know. I'm going to get a knock at the door any minute now, right?
Eddie brought it up.
I was just
Eddie
sitting around
Kane,
with
Eddie
what it
Kane,
was.
Eddie Kane. Do you hear me?
Well, he got
But
my
yeah,
name, so I mean, I'm not.
but what I'm getting at is we've had this technology for a very long time. Our cell phones, the chips in our cell phones were produced where? China had the monopoly on those. It shouldn't surprise anybody about how much shit they've got.
Well, there was a report out today too that with all the data, the voting data that they stole a lot of it from the military personnel, so they know where they're based and where they're at.
Right.
Oh no, we don't need the Save America Act. We just need to continue. Everything's safe and secure. We're good.
That's okay. He won't get it passed. The urgency will be there. And guess who gets deployed?
The military?
Military, yes. Go ahead, keep stuttering.
But what is the military going to do?
They will be
What can they do?
guarding. They will be guarding the infrastructure. You've got military is not just somebody on street with a weapon in their hand. You're also talking the cyber teams. Military has some of the best cyber teams in the world, by the way.
Well, it looks like that the United States Postal Service is going to be able to implement their barcode system for the states. So I guess that's some good news.
Say that again.
The United States Postal Service, where they were
Oh yeah,
saying
they
that.
were given Friday. They were given the ability to move forward, which means they're likely to win in court. And that was because of what happened in Massachusetts.
Hey, the new prime minister in the UK. Oh, where's that one lady? I don't think she's on tonight. Well, he came out and said that he's dropping digital ID for now, so good for them.
Good.
Yeah. I mean, for now, these guys are slippery, but it gives them a little break.
Well, he wants to stick around for a while.
If he
Talk
makes
about a
it, what?
tinderbox.
I think, Starmer actually, he exceeded expectations. He beat the last three people, didn't he? As far as length. I mean, they don't last long there.
No, I think they've had 7 in 10 years. It's pretty quick. Starmer went right to the pub after he stepped down.
The military, Katie.
What'd you say?
He's stuttering.
Why?
The military.
I'm not getting the joke.
Oh, well.
I just teased him about stuttering.
Oh, I missed that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just teased him about stuttering, so now he's military.
Because
You know,
she says,
he stuttered on military just less than 3 minutes ago.
She said, who's
yes.
going to be deployed? And
And he went,
military.
I put the correct pronunciation of tangential in the chat for you, Eddie, so you don't stutter.
Thank you.
So it is a shoal. Tangential shoal. Tangential.
Tangential.
There's no S. It's not tans. It's tangent. And it depends on where you live, because I knew it. I've always known it as tangential, but the meaning is still the same. But thank you for dropping in the correct spelling and pronunciation. It is much appreciated.
I need it tonight, too, because my English language is not doing so well tonight. It's just not there.
It's not an easy word to know or say.
I can't believe, Katie, I can't believe Texas hasn't, just said, we're going to get rid of the machines, or go back to like where we used to, because I remember when like in, I think it was 08, where you could go into the polling station and you could either do electronic or your paper ballot, right? You got your choice. And then the paper ballot just kind of went away.
I don't even remember that, because
Really?
when I was in the military, I voted by mail the whole time. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But, Abbott did just appoint a new Secretary of State. So hopefully that last one wasn't so great. So hopefully this one, because the last one wouldn't close the primaries, but I'm hearing this guy might do it.
Doesn't that have to be voted on by the legislator, or does it not?
I don't know.
Depends on what's codified in your law. You'd have to go look at what's in law, Texas law. The secretaries of state have quite a bit of flexibility when it comes to elections, so maybe it's already there.
I don't think so, because I remember it's tried to get through like 3 times and they just won't do it.
Well, there's some authority that he's using if he can do that. If he's able to shut down the primaries, he's got to have some authority.
They need to. I mean, I hate open primaries. It's stupid. Closed primaries, way better.
I don't know if you heard the rumors, but they've got a bunch of stuff on Talrico, but they're holding it. They're going to hold it for a little bit.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, hold it till about, get your October surprise. Maybe, well, we go to early voting. What do we have, like 2 weeks early voting or some shit?
Yeah, I think so.
God, man, that man cannot win. We just can't let him win.
I can't believe he's so radical. I can't believe there'd be that many people to vote for, but we'll see.
You remember the last time, what was the guy's name that was running for Senate against, I think, Cruz?
Oh, yeah. Shoot.
I forgot his name, but you know what I'm talking about.
I mean, Feisty, you know who he is. That guy that ran in Texas a couple times. He ran for governor and then he ran for senator. He's all smooth.
Oh, you're talking the dipshit.
Yeah.
Dipshit, yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
I know. I can't think of his name.
Beto O'Rourke.
Beto O'Rourke.
Right.
Way to go, Q-New.
There you go. Now, that guy, he was like, they were like, man, he's got a really good shot. He's up in the polls. And he didn't even come close, man. So, I don't know.
And he's not as radical. Like, he was fairly, like what they're calling the socialists now. They just didn't call him that back then. But this guy, Talrico, is, oh my gosh, he's radical.
Beto O'Rourke is like a conservative compared to this guy, Talrico.
Yeah, exactly. He just kind of fell off the face of the earth, too. He's nowhere around.
It's because he had a number of things he needed to run away from, right?
Yeah, probably. Wasn't his wife, like, ultra wealthy, and so he didn't even have to work or something?
It was White's family, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the guy that ran for Florida governor, I believe, that black guy, I think they arrested him like a week or 2 ago, right? On drug charges.
Byron?
He's going to jail.
Oh,
he's already in jail, right?
He's been arrested before.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
What did he get arrested for this time?
I thought
Marijuana. It was marijuana.
Just marijuana?
Like a large amount, or just a misdemeanor, or was it a felony?
No, it wasn't much, but they just wanted to give him a hard time.
Yeah, I was gonna say
So-
a marijuana arrest is we're just gonna fuck your life up.
Exactly.
Yeah, but
And paraphernalia.
after those pictures, I don't know. A marijuana arrest compared to those pictures, whatever he did that night, was probably not much. You know what pictures I'm talking about.
Yeah, sure.
From the
Yeah.
first time.
The first time you got arrested.
Yeah, he was laying there naked, and the room looked like
I remember
drug-
that.
Oh, it's horrible.
Like the D.C. mayor, dude. What was his name that got arrested in the hotel room with crack?
That guy. Yeah.
He was such a protected person. You know, it's funny because the company my husband used to work for leased, the building that he made, it was like a second mayoral palace, if you will. The company my husband worked for leased part of that building for their operations there. And it was always weird because you walk in and talk about ostentatious. It was unbelievable how all the granite and the bronze, and he was a character. But he honestly didn't think he would ever be held accountable. So,
Marion Barry.
yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't he do 10 years and come out and get reelected?
Yeah.
Freaking crazy.
That's because DC needed him there. It didn't last long, thank God.
Well, Tim Walz will probably run for president, even though he's a fraudster. It don't matter.
What a jackass.
I need some big arrests, Feisty. Something juicy, man.
We're getting there.
A lot of people are now complaining that there's an amnesty bill proposed, something about in agriculture from the agriculture committee. Anybody see that?
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Did you read
And
it?
What happened?
I did not read it, but well, a bunch of Republicans decided to sign on to a bill that it was a left-wing senator. I forgot her name, but she was the one that she was the whatever crafted the bill, and they signed on to it, and it's given amnesty to some farm workers that are here.
Oh. Yeah, you mean like the Chinese farmers that showed up all over the country next to military
I think
bases?
Mexican farmers.
Well, not just Mexican.
Well, probably
You know
not
that's
just
going to go.
Mexican, right?
It's going to go deeper.
How is Trump doing 50% tariffs when the court struck him down? How's he doing this?
There's several tariff. We went through that.
Yeah, I know, but no one's explained to me that he's opposed these tariffs on Canada today and what he's using to do it.
Well, go look up which ones give you the 50%. I put that in here some time ago. I went through the whole tariff thing.
He uses Section 338 of the Tariff Act of 1930.
The FDA rescinded their ruling that the Taco Bell lettuce supplier was the source of the explosive diarrhea parasite. That's a lawsuit. FDA Taylor Farms cyclospora test was a false positive. The source of the outbreak still remains unknown.
Oh, come on, stop it.
Yeah, this is funny. Schumer's on the floor today, and he says,
Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump has turned the presidency into the biggest money-making scheme of his life. Oh my
They're going
God.
after him because his kids have crypto holdings.
Yeah, but in the first term, didn't he lose like $1 billion or something?
More than that, I think, especially with all of the personal lawsuits. But yeah, he lost a ton of money. Plus, he's not making anything, right? Doesn't take a paycheck, and that still holds true.
It's so over the top theater with Schumer sometimes. It's hilarious.
What do you think about this? This is a little strange to me. So Trump is saying it's called API, and it's Trump Media and Technology Group. The company has pitched charging Wall Street traders and investment firms up to $100,000 per month or a discounted rate of $60,000 a month for 3-year commitment for ultra-fast access to posts from President Trump and other influential accounts on the platform.
What are you asking?
Is that legal? I mean, could that be insider trading? Because if like, let's say Trump posts something that's regarding Iran or something, and you know it's going to be something that's going to turn the oil market, could that be considered insider trading?
If he does something with it.
No, I'm saying he's going to give information. You're paying that Trump technology group to get fast, like you'll get the post before anybody else will. And then you could.
You mean like Congress does every day of the year?
Yeah, I'm not saying that what they do is right either. I'm just saying then they could act upon that information to, let's say, to buy ExxonMobil stock. I want to buy it because I know oil prices are going to go up on this news. It seems illegal to me.
We don't have any statutes. Otherwise, Congress would have been dead to rights long before now.
You're only getting, I mean, you're not actually getting like what to buy or anything like, oh, these companies are going to merge, or if it was anything like that, they would have to not release it. Like if he was going to make one.
But remember, the only law that we have is they have to legally disclose when they make these trades. That's it. You can't let Schumer lead you down a path of Trump is illegal. I think first we need to point that mirror back towards them, right?
Yeah, but
Trump is losing money, but Congress is making millions. You square that story, and then we can talk. But they're trying to say Trump, through his private enterprise, which he divested of in his first term. So what they're trying to say is his kids can't make money because it tangentially makes Donald Trump wealthy. That's bullshit. Just because he's president doesn't mean his family has to give up all their enterprises.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. But like, let's say I had a publicly traded company and we were going to merge with somebody else. And I told you, Feisty, that this was going to happen. This merger is fixing to happen.
That's insider trading, yes.
Right. So if you get a post before the rest of the world gets it, and it's specifically about something that's going to affect a stock, and you act upon that, then the post comes out, would that be considered insider trading as well? Or no?
If somebody acted on it, yes. But if he's disclosed it, I don't see where you're going with it, because Congress is trying to make a crime. I have seen nothing. Have you seen anything that says that Trump is doing any of that? They're forcing Trump into a position to defend himself on a crime they commit every day of the week.
Over the past 2 months, there's been some posts that Trump has made on Truth Social that have moved the oil markets drastically. Absolutely. I watched it in real time. But is that insider trading? I don't know about that.
I can't answer your question. I can't answer your question.
I can't either.
You have an uncanny ability of coming up with questions that I don't play in that sandbox. I see what Schumer's doing as pure political theater, so I ignore him. Schumer's good at that, by the way.
Oh yeah, for sure. But it'll be a challenge. We'll get the answer. I guarantee it. I don't know whether to take that as a compliment or not. The uncanny ability part.
However way you want to take it. You do have an uncanny ability. You come up with more hypotheticals than I've ever known anybody to do.
Late night comedy is sucky now. I mean, it's not even funny.
It hasn't been funny for a very long time.
Jimmy Fallon's on here. I don't know how it just stayed on there. I guess she was watching something. It's stupid. Johnny Carson used to be so funny, man. I used to watch that with my dad all the time. Even David Letterman was pretty funny.
Yeah, they all lost their sense of humor. Okay, I finally finished my document.
Oh, I was bothering you while you were writing, huh?
Well, I told you, I went through my 45 pages to condense it because I know Sean is going to ask for it. Well, he may not ask for it, but that way he can follow the slides. And I tried to be comprehensive without overdoing it.
It was kind of like an unruly student asking you a bunch of questions while you were trying to grade the homework.
No, you weren't. If it was going to bother me, I would have told you I had to leave.
What if Rand Paul asked? I'm gonna pull an Eddie right now. What if Rand Paul asks Fauci to spell out why he got a pardon? Why the crimes were not documented? So what crimes did he commit? And what if he doesn't say his crimes?
I think, in my view, Fauci has plausible deniability because he isn't in the mind of the person that granted the pardon. Unless they can prove Fauci was the architect of that pardon, I think it's a question that would get public dismissal before it got out of the mouth of Rand Paul.
I actually do think there was an email he sent requesting it.
Well, that's what
There
I
may
would.
have
I would
been, but the email may ask for a blanket pardon, but it may not specifically say what it is. So unless Rand Paul has that, and he can catch Fauci in the moment, I don't know that it lands well. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, he posted this little meme I put up. So I was trying to figure out what he's doing.
Well, he
Let me
could
go
ask
back and look.
more of a leading question, though, Katie. Like, Dr. Fauci, did you have any communications with the White House leading up to your pardon? All right, start off
He
with
can
that.
ask that. He could ask that question. That question is very logical and fluid. And Katie, that one is about the parting gift from Biden was the pardon.
Yeah, but it's just a strange thing to post.
He's trying to say that Fauci's pardon was, I don't know how he says it's illegal, because unless they can, actually, it is my belief, because on January 17th, 2024, you had that neurologist at the White House from 5 p.m. until 11:59 p.m. I don't think Biden is loosey-goosey. I never did. What if it was a test to prove he isn't? Or to prove he is, whatever way you go. That would make the pardons, because that information didn't get released, by the way, until April of 24. In the middle of election cycle. And it's already hot and heavy. I think, and this is my view, if he did go through a cognitive test in January, and he shows up on the stage of, hey guys, and he's completely lucid, and he can tell you he did not authorize certain pardons, that fucks up a lot of people. Like Ed Martin said, we have to accept the pardons as they are, no questions asked, unless something comes up. So Trump in February of 25 declared every pardon illegitimate, remember? And the auto pens. So if Fauci's pardon is an auto pen, he's already got an issue. If they can't prove that there was delegation to actually use it. And they did bring in the woman who's the custodian of the auto pen. They did bring her in for questioning, and we never heard what came of that, if you recall. So it's going to be interesting to see where that goes.
Now, could he answer that with that's privileged, right? Information between him and the president?
If he's given the designation, but it wouldn't be him that would claim privilege, it would be the president.
That's right. You're right.
So it would have to be Biden. That would have to be Biden coming forward saying no. Right? Again, right. It puts Biden on that damn hot seat, right?
And even at that point, I mean, Navarro and Bannon, Trump invoked executive privilege on them, and that still didn't work.
Right. They breached their rights, though.
You know, but I like the line, Katie. I think, and I agree with Feisty. I think they've thought about this, right? How to lead the questions here. So I mean, it's going to be super interesting. I'm definitely tuning in for that one. I miss the Supreme Court. I'm glad it's over, but I miss it.
You're not gonna believe what I just did. Ah! I'm going through my deleted files. I accidentally deleted it.
Just deleted all the work you just did?
I'm restoring it now. Thank God. Yeah. I accidentally deleted it. I can't. Oh, there. Okay. I can't believe I'm finally here.
Okay, here you go, Katie. These are just some questions that Grok would ask that are leading and they're adversarial, but they're also kind of make him answer, right? So, multiple emails from early 2020 show you and your colleagues privately discussing a lab origin as plausible. Yet publicly, you promoted a natural origin narrative and helped organize a paper labeling the lab leak idea a conspiracy. Why did you actively work to suppress one hypothesis while your own emails suggested you took it seriously?
Where are you getting these questions?
That's a good one.
Grok.
Mm-hmm.
You testified that NIAID did not fund gain-of-function research at Wuhan, yet EcoHealth Alliance received millions from your institute for bat coronavirus, including proposals that appear to fit the U.S. government's own definition of gain-of-function.
So if I were Fauci and I got that question,
Mm-hmm.
that would be a good time to bring in the DITRA map. Remember what DITRA did? They used all the grant money from all those agencies to actually fund EcoHealth. They were the primary financial source for EcoHealth.
Throw them right under the bus.
In a heartbeat.
And then you publicly stated in early 2020 that masks were unnecessary for the general public, then reversed. Was that based on evolving science, or was it to preserve PPE for healthcare workers? In the latter, why not just say so honestly? That'd be a good one. Ooh. The vaccines were sold to the public as stopping infection and transmission. When did you know this was no longer true? And why did you and other officials continue strong public messaging that contributed to vaccine passports and mandates?
That's a good one.
That's a good question.
Because I'm pretty sure he knew very early on that it wouldn't stop infection.
Well, they did. In fact, I remember when I was doing research on this, the whole idea of masks was from an 11-year-old's paper. It's actually up on the NIH website. Now, doesn't that make all these yahoos still wearing masks look stupid?
Yeah.
This would be another good one. Excess deaths, particularly in younger age groups, remained elevated well after initial waves. What rigorous analysis attributes how much of that to COVID policy, lockdowns, delayed care, vaccine effects versus the virus itself? Because a
That's a
lot of
good
those
one.
kids are committing suicide and shit, man. Those are all like questions that would kind of perk the public's interest, right? They'll be like, ooh, he has to answer it, right? I mean, I guess.
He cannot walk away from that.
Right. Those are things that if he answers truthfully, now he can lie. I mean, there's nothing stopping him from lying if he don't get caught. But that's a risk. If he starts lying, that's a risk.
He's already got so many friggin' risks. It isn't funny.
They can be charged with those crimes. Those are crimes. Go to jail. There's a ton of questions they can ask him, right? Without leading him into further incriminating himself in front of for state charges. You know, they're gonna have to lead it. I don't know, man. It's gonna be kind of tricky.
You think they're going to try not to lead him into those? Because I would think they would try to lead him into questions.
I think they
I
will
have no
try to
doubt
lead him
Rand
into
Paul. I have no doubt Rand Paul will want to do some leading. It was Fauci who lied to Rand Paul specifically. Remember?
He's not happy.
Not only is it not happy, but he's got a bone to pick and he's out for blood. He's said it too many times.
He's chair of that committee. Is that what it is?
I think so. Homeland Security, right?
Yeah, I don't know where he's going to be testifying in front of. Guess did the House subpoena him as well?
I don't care if Rand Paul is chair of the Parks and Recreation Committee. He will find a nexus to get Fauci in front of him. You know what I mean? He will find a way. He's so embittered by Fauci.
Oh, I think Rand Paul would do bare knuckle fist fight right on the floor right there.
Oh, no kidding. Now that would be some TV, wouldn't it? To watch him hop over the dais and run after Fauci's neck. Yeah. I think everybody would love to see it.
If we can pick our fighter, I want Mark Wayne Mullen.
Man.
He had a pretty rough press conference the other day. I don't know.
Who did?
Mullen. He wasn't a polished speaker with all the facts he needed to get out. It was not the best.
What presser was it?
It was, remember, after Trump, what was it, last Thursday, he gave, wasn't it last Thursday? Yeah. And then he said the next day DHS would have a presser on it as well. So he had it, but it just, I don't know,
Didn't
kind of
land
fell
well?
flat. No, it fell flat.
I didn't look at it.
Yeah, because nobody was sending clips around because it wasn't good.
I am done.
Yeah, he hasn't impressed me much, Katie, at all.
I have two. Oh, no, I don't. Okay.
Problem becomes, though, is like, who can Trump nominate to get him across the line, right, in the Senate, to get him confirmed? That's a big issue.
Yeah, that's a problem.
It
But I
really
do think,
shouldn't be. It sucks that it is, you know?
well, and I do think he's loyal to Trump because Trump did something for his son, and he can't even talk about it without like
He
being
cries
teary. Yeah.
every single time he cries, every time it's brought up.
So I think he's loyal, but you know, in those
He
cabinet
needs
positions,
some presentation help, is what you're
yes.
saying.
Yeah.
That can be built.
Yeah. If you're open to it.
You don't think he is?
I don't know. He's kind of cocky. I'm not saying I don't like him, but the other thing is he's overwhelmed, busy, you know.
Yeah, that is true.
He's got a lot on his plate.
DHS has got a lot going on, and the secretary has just like Rubio, has assumed a lot of previously delegated positions.
Yeah.
Especially now that he's fired CISA.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, I found a CISA name, a lady that's like one or two below Chris Krebs back in the day, and how she stayed intertwined all these years in different things. So if you need a thread to pull next week, let me know.
Give me your name, because I think I started on, did she run the fact-checking website back in 2020?
Maybe. Let me go look at
Inside of that.
my notes.
And I know who it is. I haven't
Is
kept
it
up with
Suzanne
her.
something?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I hate that.
So
pull
she
her.
ran was Nitsky,
She
right?
I don't know about, I have to look, but she's been in all of the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
After she left CISA or CISA, whatever,
CISA, yeah.
she went, God, where'd she go? To some election group, and I mean, she's been everywhere causing
So
chaos.
she's the gatekeeper.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll send it to you. I'll DM you to your personal one. I
Okay.
found this one lady, AZ Pink Lady, did a great thread on her.
Mm-hmm.
I'll send you part of the thread. So
I did a dig on her back in the day because we were getting pissed over all the fact checking on the election, and it turned out to be her.
So she went to work for the election group, because that's the name of it.
I think it's the commission, right? Are you referring to the commission? I'll have to see what she drops.
The election group is a private entity. It's not a government, but they were deeply involved with Fulton County and the Georgia Board of Elections, going in there, and they were doing all kinds of whacked out shit.
I'll tell you, these radicalized people that have been running all this stuff in the government, I think, is the biggest rude awakening for so many people to come to terms with, don't you think?
Man, it goes pretty deep. Like when you were going into the NGOs, I mean, it's just, damn, dude, it doesn't stop.
Okay, this lady's name is Susan Spalding, and she went and worked for a group where she was training all these judges. And what they were training these judges was, if they see information come to the court, you know it's Russian disinformation on the elections. So before the 2020, these people were going around training all the judges on that, how to respond.
Lead you right to all these cases tossed before they got heard.
Lock her up, man. Come on.
I'll be real honest with you. I would rather see her tied to an overall conspiracy and get the additional charges. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah, that's even better.
There's some people I'd rather they didn't come up right away. I would rather see them, for their individual crimes, held accountable, but I would rather see them tied to a grand conspiracy, which, according to Geneva, we may not be getting for a hot minute, because he's going after the individual conspiracy cases. I got the hiccups again. Sorry. I'm already looking at that one. I remember this thread.
Yeah, if you go to AZ Pink Lady and put in her name, she has done it for me, but man, she started at Siza, so she's on.
I have to laugh. My husband's using my ex account way more than I am.
Why don't he just make his own?
Because I've got more followers, so he started using mine. I didn't even realize it. It was funny because I came into X, I was getting ready to post something. I went, wait, I didn't post that. So I got up and I walked into his office. It's in the next room over. I said, are you using my X account? He just started giggling. He says, you've got a lot more followers.
That can get dangerous.
Why is it dangerous? Not between the two of us. I mean, shoot. Not only that, he's the one that devised the password because he doesn't like my naming conventions. He uses passwords I will never figure out.
You probably didn't see that there was a sort of a terrorist act in New York City today. Did you see that?
No, what did they do?
Yeah, anti-ICE guy. Turns out he's a former army soldier, but he went to the federal buildings, outside the federal buildings, and poured a bunch of gas and lit it on fire. And the only one who got hurt was a poor immigrant or illegal alien that was going to one of his court appointments.
Oh, Jesus. What did he set on fire?
He just poured it like on the ground, but poured just a whole gas
Oh,
thing.
man, because that makes a flash fire.
Yeah, and it came up quick. And the first thing I saw, and so I went to look for it, I saw in the Huffington Post, it said, somebody gets arrested for lighting off fireworks. And I see the video later, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. You know, there was no fireworks. It was a gas can and a match, basically.
And Katie, that dude is so lucky because he poured that gas out there, and when he started lighting, I was like, that dude's going to burn himself up, dude. That thing's going to explode.
I thought so too.
Because you're right, Feisty, man. That he poured it out on the concrete, and you, dude,
But
it
that
was
becomes a
amazing.
flash fire.
Yes, it just boom.
Katie, do you have squib?
No, I
I
was
told
just,
Eddie to get out of squib.
oh, that's right. Eddie pulled something for me last time I wanted it.
Yeah, he had a month's free. When the
Yeah.
date came up, I said, get out.
Get out.
Because it's
I actually got
124
out.
page.
I got out really fast, and I still got my month. It was that was right when we were trying to get those election docs.
Right. Well, you're not going to be able to do a free month now. You're going to have to pay. It's too soon.
Oh, that was still an amazing election document. I still love that document. That's a good
That
one.
was a good document. That was a really good document. Well, this document Katie sent me is also really good, how the courts were weaponized. It's a 124 page document. Reading it on Squib is going to be hard. And I can't download it because I don't have an account.
Yeah, basically they told that every time someone tries to bring information about the election, it's Russian interference, basically propaganda. So
Did you look at what was dropped on Thursday?
yes,
So you saw where it was a concerted effort to wall off
yes,
anything to do with China?
yeah.
Okay.
You know, all these DSA members that are running in the Democrat Party, that actually is probably going to help us in the midterms. Don't you think?
That's what I've been saying. They're putting them on broadcast.
Right, because a lot of
I think the general voting public is looking at this shit going, oh, not on my watch.
right, it could motivate our side to go vote. And the blue collar Democrats, they'll be like, either they'll be just like, repulsed by it, or they may switch sides. Who knows, They were even coming after Mark Elias today in Minnesota, like booing him in the crowd and saying, you turned on us, Mark, and just yelling at him. And he's like, oh, thank you. He didn't know how to really respond to him.
Why did they think he turned on him?
Say that again?
Why would they think he turned on him?
I mean, they're just not, anybody that is not super far left radical, they're not happy with because they don't think they're going far enough.
Geez, Elias to me is a nut job, so.
He's not leftist enough for them.
Yeah, but he'd still steal the election for him.
I think Tasek flipped, by the way. I'm going through the feed and I saw what you dropped. The Bill McGluen post. He got disbarred in 23, I think. But I think he flipped.
Yeah, I actually think there's a possibility that when the FBI agent said, don't pull him over, it's because maybe they were also looking at him. And everybody's freaking out that, which is a possibility that they were running cover for him. Or it could be, the last thing you want to do is interview your subject. It could be they didn't want to have him tipped off.
Right.
So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt for now.
For now. But when they only debarred him and he didn't suffer any more penalties, I thought he's flipped. He had to have flipped. Doesn't mean he's not going to get punished. It doesn't mean he doesn't part of something else, but it does mean that they used the information he gave. Now, there's other people that were involved in all of that have never been discussed. In fact, I've shown some of that. The guy that went over to, what's his name? He used to manage one of the labs in Fauci's lab. In September of 2019, he resigned, but he became a contractor. And when Trump started pushing the HCQ stuff, it was this guy that went over to Switzerland to establish the parameters for studying HCQ, and they purposefully understudied it. They didn't have a big enough pool, so it came back, what is it, unconfirmed or whatever.
Yeah,
because
and
the pool was only 30 people.
And they also waited till they were almost dead before they would let them start it, and then they would.
No, not that study. The study you're thinking of is the one they did with the veterans.
Oh.
They not only waited till they were extremely sick, they were past. They'd been sick for a while. Then they OD'd them.
Yeah. Oh.
That was the veteran study. So pissed at that. I'm
Oh my gosh, look what Eddie dropped.
Hold on one second. Be right there. Planning to visit Russia later this year, likely in mid-October, according to U.S. official and a person familiar with the situation. According to the U.S. official familiar with the travel plans, Patel is scheduled to visit Russia October 14th and 15th, first stopping in Moscow and then St. Petersburg. His host is likely to be the FSB, the Russian security service that is heir to the Soviet-era KGB, the official said. Okay, so they're making it salacious. We actually have an MOU with the FSB, just so you know. I've had it in place for quite a while. But they're going to now sing the tune of Kash Patel is now a Russian asset. You watch. They're going to play that one up for everything it is. The fact that Politico is putting it out there already tells you they're going to weaponize that.
Maybe he's picking up evidence.
Wouldn't that be great?
Mm-hmm.
And come back just in time for the election? Yeah, you can do this. You can do it till the day is long.
October surprise.
It's a little late for the October surprise, but okay. I'll take it. Anyway, guys, it's 12:30 my time. I am tired. Been working like a dog on this presentation. Say a prayer for me that I knock it out of the park with Sean tomorrow. Thank you for all of you that did listen today for the dry run. Thank you for all the comments. I appreciate it. And we'll talk to you tomorrow. Good
Okay, have a
night.
good